The Pistons are the basketball champions of the world.
Detroit, it's time. It's playoff time, Detroit. Let's go to work.
Shout out Detroit. I got to buff up, you know what I'm saying? Detroit, I'm all the way in. Detroit Pistons, I'm all the way in. Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Buffs On Podcast. We are the best POD in the 313. We got some Summer League stuff to recap for you guys today. We also got some way too early rookie team selections that we're going to make out. And then we're also going to go over some stats that I found on Twitter over the past few weeks. And we're going to dive into those and get Gabe and Vali's opinion on those. But for now, there's no Connie with us today. So it's just the three of us. So a lot to get into here because I don't know how long a lot of this stuff is going to take. But let's jump right into it. Let's first and foremost start with the guy that I think, well, that I know when we did our last pod, we talked about something that we all want to see. A couple of us said that we want to see some Ron Holland dunks. I think we got that. Along with those dunks, he went with 18.8 points a game. He shot 41% from the field. He threw in 2.3 assists, averaged 1 steal. 3-point, not as pretty at 24%. He averaged 1 block and 6.5 rebounds per game. Vali, you're the first on my screen here. So what were your overall impressions of Ron Holland through 4 Summer League games?
I think like first and foremost, what stood out was just like his sheer athleticism. And one thing that stood out from his athleticism is when he goes downhill, when he's picking up that ball in full court. I think he's just really menacing in there. I think he's unstoppable. His athleticism gives him a huge edge. So does his speed. I think he's a guy like he's gonna catch some bodies in the fast break this season. I was really pleased with how Holland played all around. I think defensively he stood out. I think he looked like the best perimeter defender certainly on the court at pretty much all times. It's evident, he's going to be like a 2 steal plus kind of guy, and in his peak of his career, I think. And we can go further on like what he did well, but one thing I do want to point out is his jump shot. You said 24% in the summer league. I still like the mechanics of the jump shot. I think we've heard from Fred Vincent. I think there's a lot of promise there. I like how his jump shot looks. It looks pretty smooth. When a starter's shooting those jumpers, looks like a middle school jump shot kind of. But like Ron Holland, that's a beautiful, like not a beautiful looking jumper, but like mechanically everything looks really sound. So I knew he had that athleticism and the defense and the rebounding, and that was confirmed by me. But what I was most like enthusiastic about was the promise of his jump shot, and I think we saw the promise.
I think we did, and I agree with you. The shot looked a lot more smooth than it did with Asar Thompson. Gabe, your thoughts on Ron Holland?
Pretty much the same thing. He kind of performed as we expected him to, He did score more than I thought. Mainly due to that last game. He played really well the last game, I thought. He almost caught that one huge body. I think it was the first game where it just rimmed out barely. Well, wow, that would have been dunk of the history of the summer league there. Yeah.
Bona dodged the bullet on that one.
Yeah, he really did. Everything else is kind of as I expected. Like I said, he drove a lot. I feel like oftentimes his drive kind of ended in the same shot where he'd just go up really strong, hang in the air with 2 hands and kind of try to go around the defender. It didn't work out too much for him. He got blocked. Remember when we watched the first game, he got stripped or blocked 3 or 4 times in a row.
It was in quick succession. Yeah.
So I think that could be a thing that kind of repeats itself a little bit as he kind of develops a finishing package, because right now it's just athleticism. And against these other guys who don't really know what they're doing in the summer league, he didn't look out of place. There's some other players we'll get to, I'm sure, that looked more out of place on the team. I think Ron Holland, to fit in that role of just, like you said, Vali, just run and be athletic and play defense, he'll fit right into that role. He can get 10 minutes off the bench, I'd say, starting up, and I'd be happy to watch him play those.
Yeah, absolutely. I was very happy with what I saw from him. I wasn't really disappointed. Does he need to get stronger? Absolutely. I think we all kind of saw that going into this. Omari Sankofa and Bryce Simon also talked about the fact that he did get stripped a lot. They were at that game that he got stripped a lot on his drives. They said maybe there were some foul calls that didn't get called. But as a Pistons player, I guess you got to get used to those because we don't get called. Uh, but I was very impressed with what I saw. I think once he gets to a more NBA like playing style, not just like straight summer league pickup basketball, I think he will flourish a little more because this wasn't really the type of game where he will flourish. It's not a game where you're going to be in transition all the time. It's a game sometimes that, is very clunky. It's very back and forth. So I think when we start getting to the NBA and he gets a guy like Jalen Duren hitting him with an outlet, I think Sasser tried it once or twice where he tried to hit him down court and it didn't work out too well. But his shot looked good. I think we can work with it. And his touch off the glass was very impressive too. And his ability to jump, hang in the air, contort, and then finish off through contact was better towards the end of Summer League. And I think he got more comfortable as Summer League went on. I think, Gabe, you and I were texting about how, like, after, I don't remember which game it was, one of the first two games, his head was down after every play. He just didn't look like his head was in it. But I think he played through that after he started to get a little bit of more confidence. I think he just wanted to get that one big summer league poster out of the way, and then he could kind of become himself again. So I think that's kind of how it went for him. But any other notes on Ron Holland before we move into our second pick?
No.
All right. So let's move into Bobi Klintman here. Averaged 11.2 points per game. 3.8 assists, 1 steal, 42% from the field, 42% from three, and 0.6 blocks per game. I know I tried to change it up from you guys when we were talking about something we want to look forward to in Summer League. I was really looking forward to watching Bobi Klintman, and I think he not only met expectations, but he surpassed them as well with some of his playmaking ability. I think, Gabe, you and I knew that he had a little bit of that in his bag, just not to the level that he showcased. Would you agree?
Yeah. And he, like you said, he exceeded my expectations more than Ron Holland did. And I don't think you mentioned his rebounding numbers, but he was a good rebounder as well. He had a double-double, if I'm not mistaken. And his passing, like, he never like would dribble and like try to make a play. He'd always cut and like find that look like off a cut, off a pass. He had that one really where like Ron Holland threw the head to him and he just kind of tossed it behind his back right back to Ron Holland, who had a open lane to the. I'm just like, his connective passing already looks so smooth. Knowing where to be offensively and defensively is a hard skill to learn, and he seemed to like have that down already. And then of course his quick trigger. He was not afraid to shoot. And his shot looks pretty good. I'm excited to watch him play. I really am.
Yeah, and you're right. I did skip over the rebounding number. That was 7.2 rebounds per game. He was everywhere on the court at all times. Oh, we lost. Who did we lose? We lost Vali?
We lost Vali.
We lost Vali. Vali's back. Vali, you want to give your thoughts on Bobi Klintman?
Back better than ever. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'd like to apologize. You guys kind of were saying like, no, Klintman something. Then I saw he was had a connection with Arn Tellem, and I was like, oh man, never mind. I'm not getting excited about this. But man, I was definitely wrong. He quickly turned my head. I mean, I missed some of what you said, so I'm sorry if I repeat some things, but his cutting and then his passing from the cut is really what impressed me. He made a lot of like those quick decisions, those little. Gabe smiling. Is this exactly what you said?
It's exactly what I said, but I mean, yeah, great minds think alike.
But like what it really encourages me is I think he's gonna be just like a really solid player. Like I was trying to think of a player comp for him. He's a guy that can just do a bit of everything. He's tall, he's long, he contributes defensively. I mean, you read the numbers, but 11, 7, and 4 with 42% from deep. Like, I don't think you can ask for much more for like a summer league performance. It's not something like wows you out of the box score, but I don't think he's going to be a guy like that. I think he's just going to be a really solid connective piece. Can help on both ends of the game, no matter what. Yeah, it really exciting with his 3-point stroke. It looked really good. I don't know, one compliment to throw out there, even though they don't play basketball or look alike, but they kind of play alike. That's why I'm saying it. But give me Boris Diaw.
That's literally what I was about to say as well. Spurs boys Dio.
Nah, he impressed for sure.
Yeah, I know. He'll little spoiler. He'll feature in one of my all rookie teams.
Hey,
Let's
all
say which
right.
one.
All right. I like it. I like it.
Question. Wait. Question.
Yeah, go.
Opening night. Maybe give it the first like 5 games. Is he cracking the rotation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, it wouldn't surprise me if he plays more than Holland. I think he contributes more to winning basketball than Holland does.
He contributes to more of what the Pistons are going for based off of this offseason, which is the guy who can. I mean, we didn't acquire a ton of defenders, but this guy can not only hit the shot when he's catching it, but he can play defense too. And he's good in the short roll. I think we can use him a little bit in pick and rolls as a short roller and make decisions. Needs to get stronger, but I can see it for sure.
Yeah, that's one concern I do have. I think some of his ball handling is gonna have to be cut out. I'm hoping he won't be forced to do that, but his physique and I think ball handling is not at NBA level yet, and I think he would get somewhat exposed at that level. But you would expect that like role to be reduced when you're around, a team of NBA players.
Yeah, of course. And I think we see that a lot with rookies, right? Asar Thompson every now and then would show a little bit of strength needing to be gained when he would try to handle the ball. Ron Holland, we're going to see it for sure. And of course, I think we're going to see it with Bobi Klintman as well. I think that there were a couple of games where he didn't really shoot the ball in the first half. I don't know if that's because he's just trying to let other people get their thing going. I don't know if it's because it was just the game plan or the flow of the offense, but he didn't rush his shot most of the time. But when he needed to score, he would score. There were a couple games where he missed his few shots and then got going. I think there was one game where he missed like his first three-point attempts, and then in the third quarter he hit 3 or 4 to bring us back into the game. So he can catch fire and he can catch it quickly. I think he's going to be one of those guys where you need to get him an easy layup first before you start getting him going from deep. But hey, that's what happens with some shooters. But when he gets going, it's going to be a fun thing to watch. Any other notes? Oh yeah, go.
Sorry. Just like one last thing on Klintman is like,
Yeah.
I think you see that because I think he just really plays within the flow of the offense. I think he has smart basketball IQ and that results directly to his or translates directly to his shot selection. I think he just takes good shots. And that's why you don't see him take like such a high volume. And that's also why you see him shoot a high percentage, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Any other notes on Bobi Klintman before we move into our third guy? All right. So third guy here, I think we should all have some pretty decent opinions on this guy. His name is Marcus Sasser. Averaged 12.2 points, 5.2 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, 3.4 turnovers. He only shot 33% from the field and 25% from behind the long line. I don't think we saw everything we wanted to see from Marcus Sasser from a scoring standpoint, but I think we saw some flashes here and there of what he can be as a playmaker in this league. I started with Gabe last time, so Vali, we'll start with you this time. What did you think about Marcus Sasser?
A very discouraging summer league for me. A lot of his concern has been about that body he has. He's a small guard. He's undersized, and I think even in the summer league that was evident. And you see the high turnover numbers, although there was an emphasis on playmaking, but really didn't score the ball, didn't shoot the ball very well. One thing about him is his he hesitates to shoot the catch and shoot three a lot. He almost prefers to rock back and forth side to side, getting that step back going left before he shoots his threes. But I think there were a lot of opportunities for him to catch and shoot, and playing alongside Cade most of the time or Ivy, you're not going to have the ball all the time. So I think like that catch and shoot three should be an option for him, and I think he's a very good shooter. I'm not sure why he's hesitating to shoot those as much. But all around, I was pretty discouraged, and I have a lot of questions as to whether or not he can fill in as that backup point guard. That summer league made me say no, he can't be a backup point guard, and we either need to go and acquire, somebody like a Tyus Jones would be insane, but like some sort of backup point guard, or you relegate Ivy to the bench and make him your backup point guard. Because right now, I do not have faith in Sasser being that guy. Based on what I saw in the summer league, I just think in the NBA, I'm just really worried. I know we saw a lot about him, but I was really discouraged by those 4 games. I hope it just is a rough patch he was in, and he can get it going again.
Yeah, and I think the first game he was just absolutely gassed, so I don't think he was in basketball shape. Motor City Hoops also said that it kind of reminds him of like a Sadiq Bey thing where he would turn down an open catch and shoot to do like a dribble sidestep and then shoot a three. So I was kind of like, that's a scary comparison. But I think, like you said, he turned down some of those shots so that he could focus more on playmaking. If we just let Marcus Sasser just like let him cook, let him score, I think it's more of his role. So I'm hoping we either do acquire a backup point guard to allow Sasser to do that, or a question I want to bring up later is maybe we don't really need a backup point guard if you're going to stagger Caden Ivey the entire game, right? Then Marcus Sasser just comes in and just scores, right? I think we've compared him to like an Alex Burks type of player where he just comes in and he scores. So let's see what happens with Marcus Sasser. Hopefully he can get that shot going in the preseason and into the regular season as well. Gabe, your thoughts on Marcus Sasser?
Yeah, the difference between Alec Burks and Sasser's, Alec Burks would probably put up like 35 in those games. Sasser, like second year guards in summer league, if they're any good, they tend to dominate, which is what we were hoping for. Like Keon Ellis played one game, dominated. Even Scottie Pippen Jr. was amazing, and he's like, if he was on our team, we'd think he was better than Sasser. So it's like I don't really have high hopes. I do think we should get realistically, like you said, Ivy Cade's staggering. We need like a third string point guard, and I always think a vet is best in those positions, like Corey Joseph-esque. So I'm sure there's some random guy out there in the league. Yeah, go ahead.
So two things. Number one, do we want to touch on the fact that Patrick Beverly turned down the Pistons to play overseas?
Oh, he did? Yeah,
he did.
I heard
Did he really?
Overseas.
We offered him or something?
Yeah, we offered him a contract. So it's two guys this offseason that have turned down the Pistons to play elsewhere. Secondly, you said Corey Joseph, so I just had to throw this in there too. Corey Joseph is now teammates with the man that put him on a poster in his rookie season, Apollo Banchero. So
how about
he got a pretty good deal with Orlando.
Yeah,
that seems kind of crazy to me.
So continue with your Marcus Sasser.
So seeing a guy who's already been through the league and played a decent amount of time, not like he didn't look like he was commanding the game at all, either with a scoring threat or like with knowing like how to pass. And like you said, Vali, that like not taking those threes is infuriating. That's like the main thing he needed to change from last year. So like I wouldn't be surprised if he just isn't on the team or like doesn't play. I really think we need a guy who is just good and like isn't gonna do anything bad or stupid or just make the right play as that, the last guard in the roster pretty much.
I got a question and potentially a follow-up depending on your answer. Statistically, who would have played better this summer, Killian or Sasser, in the minutes and the role they were given in the summer league?
I mean,
if the role was just
Killian.
to facilitate, if the role was just to facilitate Killian,
then who would you rather have on your roster starting next season?
I would rather have Killian than Sasser, but I think it was worth the try to see if we had something there because he does have that scoring archetype. But some people just aren't at that NBA level, and that's fine. He's a type of guy that'll like dominate in Greece for like 10 years because he's just like so quick and hard to touch.
I don't know. I wouldn't rule him out just yet.
A Killian return as a third string point guard?
No, hell yeah, put the house down on it. No, Marcus, I wouldn't write off Sasser just yet.
No, I wouldn't either.
But yeah, I mean, I think we're on like the generally discouraged boat based on his performances over the summer league.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd say like the next guy. I don't think he's the best guard on this team.
No, and I think we'll talk. Let's move into that guy, Dennis Jenkins? ? Dennis Jenkins had himself a pretty good summer league. I think his numbers didn't really showcase it, but if you watch the games, you'll see how well he performed. 9.6 points per game, 3.2 assists or 3.2 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1.2 steals, 1.2 blocks, 37% from the field, and 33% from behind the long line. I was pretty happy from what I saw from Dennis Jenkins. I don't think his shot fell as much as he would have liked to, except for that one game where he went absolutely crazy, dropping 26, 8 for 16 from the field, I think, and he was 6 for 11 from deep. So that was probably like the standout game, of course. But I liked what I saw from him. His defensive effort was there, and he he gets up to contest some shots. So I was very impressed with Dennis Jenkins. Gabe, your thoughts on Jenkins?
Yeah, I liked mainly his defensive effort. Like he's a smaller guy as well, but he seems longer. I don't know. And like you said, he is a really he's a high jumper. And he was just a really good defender, I thought. Offensively, I like truthfully, I don't think he's NBA talent. He's like the periphery guy who's kind of been like G League 10 days. I think that's just his future in the league because he is an older player as well. So again, I don't think he has a future on this Pistons team, but he played well, and I think he did outplay Sasser for the most part.
I would have to agree for some of that. Vali, your thoughts on Dennis Jenkins?
Not too much to say, honestly. Solid, didn't wow me or anything. Um, I don't know, nothing personal to the guy, but when it wasn't in like one of our like Bobby or Ron Holland's hands, I wasn't or Marcus Sasser's hands, I wasn't super locked in all the time, you know. I know he had a rough first game. I think he did. I think that's why he maybe only averaged 9 because he did have better performances in the rest of the games. And I think like that was the game I was most locked into, game 1 of Summer League, and I think he had a bad one. I think he airballed a shot. Um, I think he's got like a certain grit to him, and I think a lot of those players do. Credit to all of their comebacks they had, capped off by their near 28-point second half comeback in that last game. But I think the 2 wins we came from behind from a double-digit deficit in both games, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And just in general, there were a lot of comebacks, and I think the team just deserves some credit for that, and I think Jarrett Jack deserves some credit for that. I'm happy he's here. It's kind of a tangent, but when we see coaches transition, it's often the assistant coaches get wiped too. But it's good to see Jarrett Jack still the team. I thought like I don't know, he's got a good basketball mind, and I'm happy he's still around.
Yeah, before we move into team overall, because I have a couple things to note. You were right. Dennis Jenkins came off the bench in that first game. He did score a 10. Second game was his breakout game of 26. But then after that, he went 5-0-1 in the points department. So his point contribution was not lovely the last 3 games, but I think I saw enough to warrant that 2-way contract. Any of the notes on Dennis Jenkins before I throw a couple things at you guys about the team?
Give him a 2-way.
Yeah, he's got the 2-way. He's on the 2-way.
Oh, he is. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we got him already. So him and Tosin are our two-way guys, which I guess brings me to kind of our next point, and I'll get to this and I'll rant a little bit to give you guys a little time to think. Is there anybody that stood out to you from the Summer League team that you think should get that third 2-way spot? I think I read somewhere that Tosin was there. He just was not able to play. So he's 1 2-way spot. Dennis Jenkins is the second. I thought the Pistons this summer league played really well defensively in stretches. So hopefully that can translate into how we're going to play as a team this upcoming season. And then also we were a really good second half team in this summer league. I don't know if that means anything. It's just, maybe Jarrett Jack's locker room speeches at halftime really kind of kicks guys in another year. So we'll see what happens from there. But we'll start with Vali. If you don't have a guy, I'll throw the guy out there. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows who I'm going to say. But do you have a guy that should warrant that third 2-way spot?
Not particularly. I thought I don't know his name. I thought the big white guy off the bench, the big man.
Chase
He was a
Johnson.
pretty solid player. What's his name?
Jace Johnson?
Yeah, I thought he was a pretty solid player, but no, I can't say I was in enough. Sorry to really pick a guy.
Fair enough. I'm gonna throw a guy out there. I think Gabe, you'll probably agree with me. Tolu Smith averaged 11 and 9, just about 1 assist, 1.2 steals, 0.2 blocks. Not what you really want to see from a big man, but I thought he was really aggressive in getting to the basket. Needs to work on the free throws though. He shot 58% from the field, but he only shot 39% from the free throw line. But I think that if you had to choose anybody on this summer league roster that deserved a 2-way spot, it would be him. He had, I think, 2 or 3 double doubles. Let's see, he went 12 and 11 and 15 and 14. So he had 2 double doubles over the stretch of summer league. So I was impressed with Tolu Smith.
Sorry. Sorry.
I actually like Jace Johnson more.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just thought
yeah.
he played solid. Like he didn't do anything wrong ever that I saw, and he's a huge guy. I don't know if we need him on the two-way because we already have Paul Reed and stuff. But of the guys, I think I liked him the most because there's always room to just get that big guy off the bench, commit 3 fouls, you know, put a little muscle, and that's it really. But I forgot his name, but there's this one wing that put up some good numbers. I'm not sure if he's not on this roster. I'll look it up.
Slauson?
Oh,
I
he's not
liked
on
him as
our
well,
roster?
but he could not play. No, he was on, I think I forgot where it was. It was some Western team, but he put up good numbers as a wing, and I don't think he's under contract. I'll look it
Uh,
up if I can
yeah.
find it.
If we're going with other teams, I thought Bono was going to be available, so he would have been my top pick, but he's already signed a contract with the Sixers. But I'm going to say Tommy Kuzi. If you guys watch any of the Lakers games, he stood out to me immediately. I just love the way he contributed. He could handle the ball. He can score the ball. He was very impressive to me. So if we're going to hand it out to any other guy that wasn't on our team, I think it would be him that stands out to me off the top of my head. But Vali, did you watch any other summer league games or just Piston games only?
No, sorry, say it again.
Did you watch any other summer league games or just Piston games only?
Oh, just Piston games.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Gabe, any luck on finding that guy's name?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, if it comes to you, just spit it out and we can talk about it. But I guess that kind of leads us into our third topic here, which I got some stats that I want to throw at you guys. I found these on Twitter over the last few weeks. So we'll start with this right here. We all know the Pistons were atrocious last season, winning a impressive 14 games. But do you guys know which jersey we wore when we won the most games?
Since when?
Over the course of the last season, which jersey
Oh,
were we wearing when we won the most games?
I was thinking the whole time, man. I honestly have no clue.
just, just the classic home jersey.
So those are your four choices: classic white home, classic blue away, the statement jerseys, which is the one with the red and blue stripe across the chest, and then the Bad Boys jersey, which was the black and orange one. So which one are
Give me,
I want you guesses here?
I'll go classic home.
give
All
me
right.
statement.
Give you statement. All right. Well,
It's gonna
Gabe
be
takes
blue.
the case at
Oh.
home jerseys. We were 7-25 in our home
Oh,
whites. In our home whites. That's a 219 winning percentage. Away, we were 3-14 in the blue jerseys. In the statement jerseys, we were 3-14. And in the bad boy jerseys, we were bad because we were 1-15.
We're bad,
those
boy.
are some bad boys.
We were bad, but there's that. The other thing I wanted to ask you guys is, read to you guys is this. So, shout out to who posted this. Sean Corp. He posted this on Twitter a while ago. He said Malik Beasley shot 542 threes last season and made 224 of them. That's a 41.3 3-point percentage for the season. So he's effectively replacing Killian Hayes, Isaiah Livers, Kevin Knox, Evan Fournier, Malachi Flynn, Joe Harris, Troy Brown, Chimezi Metu, and Mike Muscala. All of those guys combined to shoot 542 threes. They only made 167 of them, which was 30.8%. So you're effectively bringing in one guy that is replacing all of those guys. I just thought that was funny. Any thoughts on that at all? I just wanted to
Shout out Trajan Langdon.
shout out Tracy Langdon.
When you're going through that list, I was like, "There's no way those guys made as many threes as Beasley did, but they took as many. That makes a little more sense."
That's just crazy that he shot the same amount of threes as like 7 guys. Last thing I wanted to go over with you guys that I have here is Cade's field goal percentage when he's guarded by some of the league's best defenders or some guys in the league that are known as good defenders. So against McCall Bridges, he was 14 for 19, which is 74%. Against Jalen Suggs, he was 8 for 13, which is 62%. Against Jaden McDaniels, 5 for 10, 50%. Against Derek White, NBA champion and USA team guy, Derek White, he shot 57%. And against Paul George, who we'll be seeing a lot more now that he's in the Sixers uni, he was 3 for 6. So does this kind of change your thoughts? Gabe, you posed the question on the last pod. Is Cade that A1 guy? Does this sway your opinion at all that he's able to get his own against some of the best defenders in the league?
No, because they're pretty small sample size.
Fair enough.
The Mikal Bridges one, I remember that Nets game. He went crazy. Um, unless that was against Kevin Durant, actually. Either way, Cade, no, it doesn't really. I mean, it reaffirms that I think he's a great player, but gotta see some wins rather than just being able to score.
That is a very good point. Vali, any thoughts on Cade scoring against those guys, or we can move into our rookie select teams?
Yeah, reaffirms, but happy to move on.
Happy to move on. Let's run it. Gabe, this was your idea, so I'll hand the reins over to you. Run the show. How are we doing this?
So, first of all, the reason this came to me is because Hillel Ware, I hope that's how you pronounce it, on the Heat has been awesome. I've been watching a lot of his highlights.
He was really
Got
good.
me thinking who not maybe not specifically just these past games, but who do you think will be the best rookies maybe now that we've watched them play / what you think of them before? So I have my first and second teams. If you guys don't have 10, that's fine. It's just kind of thrown together. I guess I'll just we can just run through our first teams. See if we agree on some names here. I think my leader right now for Rookie of the Year is Reed Shepherd. He's on there. He's a great player. Dalton Knecht had awesome games. Rissa Shea is in the right situation, and he's a good player. Booz Ellis surprised me, especially against us. He moves really well with his size. And then rounding out, I have Zach Edey. So that's my first team right there.
You had to throw Edey in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Edey makes it. I think Klingen's going to impress a little bit more because of the situation in Portland. He's kind of just going to be the guy who's going to come in and he's going to have some highlights of, Donovan Klingen locks up so-and-so. So I think he's going to catch the case. I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I'm just going to say his performance is going to go kind of unnoticed and under the radar because he is teammates with John Morant, who's going to steal every highlight known to mankind. I forgot about Reed Shepherd for a minute, so I'm glad I let you go first because if I threw my names out there, I was not going to have him. But yeah, it's hard to disagree with that list. The only guys, I mean, aren't select teams now positionless?
That's what I did at least. I don't know.
No, I mean if they're positionless, then I can maybe see an Edey or a Buzelis being swapped out. If I don't know, say I can't even think of any names. Maybe Cody Williams goes crazy. I don't think Ron Holland can sneak into the first team unless he surpasses expectations. But for the most part, I agree with your list.
Valley, any new names?
Yeah. I'm sorry, for Rookie of the Year. Sorry, I was distracted a little
No.
bit. First team.
First team, go ahead, yeah.
Sorry, I was making some last minute adjustments to my ladder because it is kind of makeshift, but I'm confident on this and I feel good about it. I also have Reed Shepherd. I also have Risici. I think they're in great situations. I have Buzelis as well. And man, give me Ron Holland. And then I have Klingen at the 5.
Okay.
My only concern with Holland is the opportunity, but I think he's gonna earn minutes with his work ethic, and I think he's gonna get that first team slot.
That's my problem with Klingen is right now Aiden is probably starting over him. So until the trade deadline or the old Mason Plumlee, Isaiah Stewart situation.
Don't they still have Robert Williams too?
And Robert Williams is actually a really
ahead
good
of him on
player.
the depth chart, possibly.
Some other guys, I guess on my second team, I have Khalil Ware. If Bam weren't there, he'd be on my first team. That's for sure. Stephon Castle. He played really well. Then he got injured.
I'm glad you threw him in there. Yeah.
Yeah, but he looked good. And then I do have Ron Holland, but after a little talk, I kind of want to go Klintman over Holland, but I'm not sure. Donovan Clingan I've on there, and then Bub Carrington played really well in the summer league for Washington.
He did.
And I think he's gonna get a lot of opportunity there.
So Bub Carrington over
I could see him
Rob.
sneaking into the first team. Yeah, I think because they're a good team, Rob's not gonna play as much as Bub.
That's an awesome name. I love that name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with that. For me, it's a flip of a coin between Holland and Klintman right now. I think whoever plays the most is gonna get that spot, unless somebody that we're not thinking of just totally surpasses expectations and sneaks into that second team over our guys.
Alex Sarr.
Alex Sarr, yeah.
Or just his O for 15 game, put a damper on.
I think he scored
he's
2
just gonna
points
be-
in like over a 2-game span. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he'll just be so wildly inefficient. I don't know. I don't put him there, and then inefficiency like lack of touches because he's playing with Kuzma and Poole as of now. Still, like I feel like when he gets it, he's gonna force a lot just because those touches are gonna be less. And
Yeah.
I think it's a James Wiseman Hashim Thabit situation, man.
And not only that, he's got how many other bigs he's got to compete with over there? He's got
You got Mark
Bagley.
Bagley.
He's got Jonas Valanciunas over there. So like, is he going to play more of the 4? Is he going to rotate with Kuzma? It'll be interesting to see what Troy Weaver and Washington does, but I don't know.
Speaking of Bagley, real quick, the my player that I'm playing on 2K23, he's like a big small forward, 6'10", and I'm in the starting lineup now. And instead of Dern and Bogdanovic starting, they start Wiseman and Bagley. 4-5.
That's funny. I'm convinced that 2K knows the future. Because it's just funny because when I was playing, to go on your Bagley thing, for some reason, my GM in 2K after my first year let Jalen Duren go, and he brought in Jonas Valanciunas instead. So I had to play with the bigs of Valanciunas and Bagley, who are now teammates in Washington. And then I also thought this was funny. Guess what team Gary Trent plays for in 2K? The Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh.
And now he signed with the Bucks. So I'm convinced that every year there's like 2 or 3 guys that are like in 2K, and I'm like, oh, that would be a good fit. And then they end up going there in real life. So 2K, I think, is proving that the NBA is rigged. But that's my hot take for the day. What? Any other notes on the all rookie first or second team?
Yeah, I have one different name on my second team. I'll say him last. I have Castle. I do back Dillingham. I think he'll have a lot of opportunity on a really good team because they don't really have that backup point guard slot, do they, in Minnesota? So I go Castle, Dillingham, and then I go Bobi Klintman, Zach Edey, and then rounding it out, I have Dalton Knecht.
On the second team.
Yes.
Okay. Any particular reason, or you just think that that's just how it's going to go?
A little bit of both. I don't know. I think he had a slow start, but I think I don't know. You're around LeBron, you need shooting. He can shoot.
Yeah. And I think in summer league he was kind of being forced to do a lot more creation than he's going to be able to do when he's with the big boy club. But yeah, if Dalton Knecht is just going to be catch and shoot guy, JJ Redick 2.0, like, hey, let him run it. I don't see why he can't sneak into first or second team. All right, let's do this. Is there somebody that you think is a lock to make either the first or the second team? And Zachary Richardson does not count.
Shepard.
Yeah, Reed Shepard.
Shepard doesn't count either.
Biggest lock. Yeah.
I think it's a good question though, Amit, because I don't know if you can lock any of the other guys.
Yeah, right. I would say Knecht is a lock for me, whether it's first or second team.
Yeah, I'd agree as well. Clingan too, probably. He's just really solid.
That's fair. I feel like Zach Edey's just gonna get skipped over. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just feel like just because his game isn't flashy, he's gonna get like just glanced over a lot.
I think injury is his only concern.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, he played one summer league game and then hurt his ankle.
Yeah.
So kind of rough start. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we get on out of here?
Shout out to the very last pick in the draft, Ariel Huckporty, born and raised in Germany. Went pro at 60, and I'll just be keeping a little eye on him.
Okay, fair enough.
Are there any events we have to look forward to? Any dates in the summer here?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
What's next?
Hmm.
Training camp, preseason.
Yeah, preseason's pretty much
Instagram highlight videos.
What
Yeah,
are
right.
when is preseason's official start? Is that September?
Say that again?
When does preseason officially start? Is that in September?
I think it's like late September because I have a cousin whose birthday normally falls around the same time as opening night. So if opening night is like the week of October 15 through 20, then I'm guessing preseason is going to be like late September, early October. But yeah, I know. I don't know what we're going to do. The Tigers are playing good baseball for now.
I've heard.
Enjoy that. Lions training camp either just started or starts very soon. So there's that. I think yesterday it was 40 days until Michigan football returns. So those are three things I guess we have to look forward to, but nothing in the
And the Olympics.
Oh, and the Olympics. Yeah, so we can use the Olympics. Did you guys catch any of those games by chance?
I watched a good amount of that game versus South Sudan.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, you were texting about it. Like the team USA does not look good in Olympic basketball. I've watched them last Olympics and this one, and there's something about them that doesn't click for me.
How about we give that guy a two-way contract, point guard of South Sudan, who got that tripped up?
Wait, former Piston Micah Potter and Langston Galloway.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. So why not give Micah Potter?
What's Micah Potter doing there? I get Galloway's been like a solid G League guy for a long time, like respectable, but like what's
I don't know.
Micah Potter doing there?
I remember
What team are they on?
USA.
They're part of the select team, and I guess because they're like, I don't know, is it tenure? I don't know what it is, because they have nowhere else to go. They get to stick around with the big boy club. And I just remember, I think it was a game versus Canada. Like someone kicked it to Potter in the corner, and the announcer was like, he can shoot, and then he shot and he dragged a three, and he's like, I told you he can shoot. And I'm like, if he did this,
I'm looking at his Wikipedia right now. In his 7 games with Utah, not last season, but the one before, 57%. This season in 16 games, 43%, all from deep.
Ooh, okay.
45% in college. Why wasn't he shooting that thing? Just be a stretch 5.
Wait, and he plays for Utah?
He is now, he was on a 2-way. It looks like he's mainly in the G League.
That's so funny. That was the most Utah thing to do. He's like the mold of a Utah guy.
He really is.
What was I gonna ask you based on Utah? Oh, okay. Did you guys watch that last game against the Jazz?
Partially.
I
forgot we were on.
Would you guys have? I mean, Gabe, you watched a lot of summer league, so I guess you can still answer this. Would you guys have taken Filipowski over Klintman if they were both on the board? Because I think Filipowski was taken 32nd, Klintman was taken 37th.
No, I wouldn't.
You would know?
I probably would have, yeah.
Maybe at the time of, but like right now, I would say no.
Ooh, okay. I don't have an answer. I was just curious because like that those two are like neck and neck for me. Like those are the two guys I kind of had.
He might make all rookie.
He might.
Filipowski, yeah.
Yeah, he's my dark horse, I think. Back in the 32nd pick, if Klintman doesn't count as a dark horse. Any other notes on the team overall before we get on out of here? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Buffs On Podcast. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. If you're watching this on YouTube, just look over to the right side of your screen. You will see all of our social media handles there. If you are not on YouTube and you're listening to this on podcast, we are at Buffs_on_podcast on Instagram, at Buffs On Podcast on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And we are also Buffs On Pod on Facebook. So until next time, fill the Buffs on Detroit. The future is bright.